What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. Today I've got a Reddit thread for y'all that I just really enjoyed and decided to make a video about, and it's called Teachers, What's the Weirdest Thing You've Had to Take Away from a Student? And honestly, you gotta know that teachers confiscating things has gotta be some of the most interesting stories on this side of the internet. So yeah, it should be a pretty fun video. Without further ado, let's get into it. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
On Discord to celebrate. It's not good. Nice racking her ass Brazilian. Just turned 21, but my bank's a million. Swear I'm a little drunk, but it's a hell of a feeling.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, grab your nearest Coca-Cola and get ready for some mischief. It was December or January, and we were having one of those lockdowns where the police come in with dogs to sniff for drugs. We were all locked in our classrooms, and no students were allowed out even to visit the restroom. And one of my students was as white as a ghost, very afraid. I asked him what's the matter, but it was obvious he was afraid he's about to get busted. He said, "Do you think the dogs will go to my locker?" And I said, "I don't know. Do you have something to be worried about?" He said, "There's a ham and cheese sandwich in there." I scratched my head a bit and said, "I'm sure it's no problem you have a sandwich." And he replied, "Yeah, but it's been in there since September." Dude, is this from Diary of a Wimpy Kid and how the cheese touch started? How do you just have a ham and cheese sandwich in your locker for a year that has to smell like literal death? I'm not a teacher, but was part of almost eliminating the prize box in my kids' class. Kids is in kindergarten, and I'm friends with a few of the other fathers in the class. One of the things that this class has is a prize box. If the kids are all on their game for a week, or, you know, a kid does something good, they get to choose something from the box, and it's filled with all kinds of stuff you would find in a blister pack at the dollar store. Plastic cars, bouncy balls, whatever. The parents love it, the parents supply the stuff for it, and the kids love it even more. So one day my kid comes home with a kazoo from the thing. Nothing like a 6-year-old who just figured out a kazoo works when you're trying to work from home. So I immediately fire off an email list to the fellow dads asking which wise ass put kazoos in the prize box, and see that 2 other people had beat me back to the question. And one of the guys finally replies back with, "Heh." And it was on. I countered with whistles, someone else had this annoying popping thing, someone else got the world's worst balsa planes, so like the second time it flew it was designed to snap in half and upset your kids. This went on for like 2 weeks before someone crossed the line and sent in glitter. By this point, the teacher was on to us and told our wives on us. If this is not the type of dad I am with my friends, then, you know, I'm not looking forward to fatherhood. Let's get in a super toxic competition involving showering our kids with gifts. An entire menagerie of insects. One afternoon, my class decided that they should see how many bugs they could capture and keep alive in my classroom. And the next day, I returned from covering lunch duty at another part of the school and noticed one of the cubbies had paper towel over the front like a curtain. Before I could investigate, I noticed several Tupperware containers hiding in the desk. Dozens of worms were in the cubby, many assorted beetles, uncounted ants, 4 bees, and a wasp, and, most upsetting, were several flies which were crazy glued to index card and had their wings removed. It was a long day and a long year. Bro, what type of psychopath kids are like, "Hey, I know what our teacher will love when she gets back from lunch. A bunch of dead insects that have been mutilated." That always gets the people going. Handcuffs from an 8-year-old girl. Not quite police grade, but more of just the adult fun cuffs. I sent that down to the counselor. We had a 5th grade student of a police officer cuff his friends to the play structure on the playground a few years back. We had to call the campus cops over to figure it out, and the poor lad didn't look any worse for wear, just had to chill alone outside for a bit while his friends got to go back to class. Oh yeah, I'm sure he was so upset about not having to go back to class. Poor guy was definitely so angry that his friends had to go sit in math class while he had to get busted out of handcuffs. In middle school, we had a special currency that they'd hand out to students for helping out or being kind, and you would then be able to use them to buy books or other small trinkets. Somehow, during the year, I obtained a bunch of dental plaque pills, and they turn the plaque on your teeth a certain color to help you brush your teeth, I guess. And I didn't brush my teeth very well at the time, so taking one would make my entire mouth a deep purple color. I thought I'd freak out my school friends with one, and they all thought it was cool and wanted to know how I did it. So I brought more the next day to give a couple to friends, who then showed other kids and told them that I could make their mouths purple too. So the next day I brought in all my plaque pills to school and started charging $1 in school currency for 1 pill. Sometimes if a kid didn't have money, I'd make them give me whatever cool stuff they had. Keychains, pencil sharpeners, whatever they were willing to trade. And of course, these other middle schoolers didn't do a good job of brushing their teeth either, so every kid I sold a pill to ended up with a dark purple color coating their entire mouth. Well, a bunch of kids' mouths turning purple was quickly noticed by multiple staff members, who would have guessed, and apparently I went to school with a bunch of little narcs because I very quickly found myself in the principal's office. They took all my pills, my school money, and most of the other items they weren't able to prove didn't belong to me, even though I traded fair and square. The principal was livid. All I remember of the end result was waiting in the office, getting yelled at by the principal, zoning off as I imagined all the ways I was going to get my ass beat when my dad eventually came to pick me up. And this angry principal told him all about my little operation. But miraculously, some lady came out of the room saying, "Hey principal, your meeting is starting right now, so we can't wait." And the principal, looking frustrated, told me he'd be right back and that I was still in trouble. And as soon as they walked into another room, my dad walked in, asked if I was ready to go, to which I answered, "Yep." The rest of the year felt like some very weird Twilight. None of the other kids ever mentioned it again, my dad never mentioned it, the staff never mentioned it, never talked to the principal again, and I never got in trouble, and I will never understand how. Now I just sell coke like a responsible adult. Dude, his dad couldn't have been mad at him, bro. Homie was out here hustling, starting a business in elementary school. What are you gonna do? Stop that, son. Don't make money for yourself. He was raking it in, bro. A couple plaque pills, flipping those hoes. Nice. My sister's teacher had to call my dad about a suspicious powder my sister was eating out of a bag at school. She was dipping her finger into a bag of powdered jello and eating it and then letting other kids do the same. In a somewhat similar vein, a dumb trend went around my school that consisted of kids violently snorting dib-dab powder and then starting to scream in pain when they had a nosebleeds or to pretend they were high. It was an all-girls school. Don't ever let the boys cool, girls boring memes fool you. We also do dumb shit. Yeah, for some reason, kids at my school would snort Smarties. Like, they would crush them up and snort Smarties, and it went about as well as you think that would. A lot of injuries. Don't snort candy. It's not made for that. Former teacher here wasn't part of the initial apprehension, but was a part of the follow-up investigation. The weirdest thing was a bag of turtles. Yeah, a kid caught a bunch of the little salmonella-filled red-eared ciders at a local pond on his way to school one day. We had a turtle black market at the school by noon, and by the end of the day, the principal had a dozen in a bowl in his office. The kid got caught because a terrible smell was reported from his locker. The janitor opened it up, and there was a bag of turtles. The rest of the day was spent tracking down the ones that had already been sold. I've owned a few species, and to my knowledge, the small, under 4-inch red-eared sliders have been illegal in the pet trade for quite some time due to the risk of salmonella on their skin. All turtles brought to school were under 4 inches, and the principal released them to the pond that evening. The kid was in 7th grade, by the way, but the best bit of business venture we had at school was when a kid who walked to the school would stop and buy 10 to 15 Monster energy drinks from a convenience store and sell them at school. He banked, and the operation was eventually shut down, and I wish I knew what that kid was doing now. Well, if I had to guess, kids that ran black markets on their school are probably making YouTube videos reading posts about kids running black markets in their school. If I had to take a good guess, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, too bad. A can of deodorant. You're probably thinking it sounds pretty harmless, except that the two kids using it were spraying it on the back of each other and then setting it on fire in the middle of class and didn't see problems with it because it only stays lit for a few seconds. Oh my god, the kids at my middle school did this too, and we had an entire assembly where they yelled at us about it. Alright, this is kind of embarrassing, but yeah, my school also had a phase where kids were making flamethrowers out of deodorants. Is this just a common thing? Like, did we all do this? Are we all pyros? I'm not a teacher, but I taught my friend in 8th grade how to make pipe cleaner caterpillars, since our school was discarding hundreds of bags of pipe cleaners. She found them all, put them in her backpack, and made the caterpillars. The thing is, she made around 1,000 of them until our teacher realized, and she tossed them in the garbage. But they just changed it, so while the teacher wasn't looking, she grabbed them all and put them back in her desk. Why would you want 1,000 caterpillars made out of pipe cleaners, bro? This just seems like the most bizarre thing to try to collect ever. Yes, I once had the world's largest caterpillar collection made out of pipe cleaners. Quite impressive. A can of Cheese Whiz. It was from a student visiting from another country, and she was enamored with the incredible canned cheese product that she had discovered. So much so, she kept opening her backpack to stare lovingly at it or take it out during class to get some sweet, sweet cheesy goodness. It was pretty cute, actually, and I made sure she got her cheese product returned at the end of class, but man, did she love Cheese Whiz. Dude, just imagine in the middle of class, they're like, and that is when the entire change of World War II happened. The Germans lost This girl's just spraying Cheese Whiz into her mouth with the ferocity of a velociraptor. I did a brief stint as a supply teacher in my early 20s. One day I was at school I'd never been to before, and there was a group of lads gathered around the table at the back of the room, generally not paying much attention to the lesson. I went to investigate, and they were working on a full-blown diagram of how a male might go about effing himself off. I confiscated it for research purposes. Ah, this man is cultured. He has the secret of life, the fountain of youth. That's what it is. Being able to do that to yourself is the key to an infinite life one. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought. It would be much appreciated. And if you're new, subscribe and be sure to turn on those notifications so you never miss another post. If you guys want more content, I do have a podcast called The Scuffed Cast. You can find a link to that in the description down below. No pressure, though. And if you like the intro song, a link to it on Spotify is also down in the description. And yeah, last but certainly not least, we gotta go ahead and give the members a shout out. If you want a member shout out, all you gotta do is click the join button next to subscribe down there. You get a verified check mark next to your name and a shout out at the end of every video. So yeah, without further ado, let's give a big shout out to Cosmic Ramen, Christian Candy Rose, Taco Man, Caveman Blank, Jacob, Eli Garrett, Sam Brody, Ultra Radish, Raymond, Michael Savage, Pepe the Gamer, Bullseye Ben, Michael Harris, Cyrus, Nick, Hex, Philip, Flofty, Kanye, Wiro, Lackey, Hallspy, Caden, Jinx, Carrot, Calvin, Kinsta, Franklin, Random Bot, Rozak, Bobbin, Trash McGee, Toasty, Ansel, Tom, Knees Duts, Kim, Home Gang, Dashy Boy, DJ Legend, Antog, Alex, Tendons, Coleman, Typical Panda, Master Milks, Aaron Loves Scrubs, William Dubois, Rosento, Mackenzie, Geo, Pwaz, Jellybean, Woofles, Benedicti, Brandon, Flawed Phoenix, Dylan Chungus, Unreal Decoy, Sebastian Bees, Johnny Dude, Cosmic Ramen, Fabulously Terrifying, Chandler Lewis, Ryuki, and Why So Blurry. Thank you all so much for being members. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.